TCB necklace? Yes, I have my TCB necklace. All right, everybody have your necklace? Now we have the gentleman that helped Elvis take his vision and create something real. And it is a jeweler. Long time, the family in Memphis, longtime jewelers. And Lowell Hayes is here to talk about how that family connection happened with Elvis. Lowell Hayes, come on out. Oh, listen, that was his, he walked out too fast. Diamonds are forever, I picked up.
You want me to go back and start over?
I'll do the jokes, Lowell. It's so great to have you here, and it must be amazing for you to walk around and see the fans, so many fans wearing the TCB lightning bolts, knowing the history and the story of those. What's it like when you see all the fans wearing those?
Well, I mean, you know, it was Elvis's trademark, Elvis's symbol, and everybody that loves Elvis wants a TCB necklace.
Yeah. How did that happen? How did it come about?
Elvis and Priscilla designed those necklaces on a flight. Well, in Elvis's case, Elvis was a showman. And the jewelry just set him off. But you're right, he would wear a ring on all 4 fingers on both hands. And he would sometimes wear 2 or 3 necklaces.
Yeah.
It was showmanship to Elvis.
And I know the guys, like when he was in public, the pieces that he was wearing, and there's Red worried that at some point somebody's going to reach across and grab a necklace or grab a ring or something. I mean, it's the kind of thing that Elvis had a love of the jewelry, but he also loved giving. So if he had the ring on and someone admired it, he would take it off and give it away.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what he would do. And, you know, there were certain pieces that he replaced continually, like he had a horseshoe ring that had a horse head on it. And he was forever giving that ring away. And then he had a nugget cross that I made for him that there's no telling how many nugget crosses I made him, because he would take it off and give it away.
Yeah, yeah. Now there's the TCB. Tell us how, so that happens on a napkin. What do you do to create a piece of jewelry from that design?
Well, in that particular case, we just made a wax model of the necklace and took it out there and showed it to him. Mm-hmm. And he approved it, and then we cast from that. We make a mold, and we cast from that mold.
And cast how many originally in the first set? How many?
Oh, in the first set, gosh, I don't remember exactly. Probably 15 of each.
Right.
In the first set.
And that was kind of his symbol of acceptance to people. If you got that, it was you were kind of in the circle.
Well, in the beginning, he made the TCBs for his entourage only, but then that expanded, and he began to give them to friends.
Right.
I made the big TCB ring also. Mm-hmm. And then I made, if you're curious, I made that out of balsa wood, and hand-made it out of balsa wood, hand-carved it, painted it, set fake stones in the lightning bolts and the letters, and took it out there and showed it to him. It looked exactly like the one that they have on Graceland now. And he approved it. I had already made him 2 rings. He'd asked for a big stage ring. He asked for a ring that when people saw it, they would say, "That's Elvis." And I struck out twice on that. Twice he gave them away. So the 3rd time I thought, I'm not going to make another $5 ring and take advantage, take his money, you know. So I made it out of balsa wood. He approved it. Then I made it out of 18-karat gold and diamonds. Took it out to the house. They told, we were getting ready, we were about to go on tour. And I took it out to the house, and I told Elvis, said, "Bring it up here." And I said, "Ask him to come down here. I want him to see this under that chandelier in his dining room, where it was really tall, you know, because I knew what it was." So he came down, he sat down at the end of the table, I handed him the ring, he put it on, and he looked at it, and he says, "Man, that's a hoss." He said, "You know," he said, "wait till Sammy Davis Jr. sees this." And then he says, "You know what, even Liberace doesn't have a ring like this." So for that, he gave me a Lincoln Mark IV.
Words that Elvis never uttered. Here's a sentence Elvis never uttered. Do you think I went over the top on that a little bit? It was never big enough. It was never blingy enough. He loved it. Now, Elvis couldn't come down to your jewelry store and browse around the shelves. You were kind of like the Nurse Cock. You were kind of on call when he was ready to see. So what was the process there when you knew Elvis wanted some jewelry? What happened?
He would call me, or one of the guys would call me, tell me that Elvis wanted a ring, or he wanted a necklace or whatever, and I would go out to Graceland because I had a retail jewelry store at that time. And then whenever Elvis was on tour, I was always welcome to the tour. Sometimes I would fly in and out of the tour, but I was always required to have a briefcase full of jewelry because Elvis told me one time that he did a lot better financially giving away a $1,000 ring than he did a Cadillac.
Now, one time you were on tour with him, and you're thinking, I guess at some point he's going to look through the jewelry, but you get to almost showtime, and you ended up kind of on stage with him, didn't you?
Usually when Elvis was performing, I would stand by the stage with Felton Jarvis by the soundboard and just watch him sing. And so this particular time we were in Asheville, North Carolina. He came over to the stage, and all the time he's singing, and he leaned over and he said, "Lowell, where's your case?" And he kept singing. And I said, "It's right here." He said, "Put it up here." So I opened it up and I set it up on the stage, and Elvis got a ring out of it, walked up on the front where he was singing, and gave it to someone. In a few minutes he came back, he got more things out of it. He ended up nearly emptying the case. Now, my process with Elvis was, if he saw something he liked, he would tear the tag off of it and throw the tag in the case. Mm-hmm. So when I get back to Memphis...
So he never looked at the tag to see how much it was?
He never looked. I get back to Memphis and billing for the tags, you know. So after the show, I was embarrassed. I loved selling him something that he needed for a gift, but he unloaded my case that night, and I was embarrassed. And so after the show, I went out and got in the limo with him, which I usually got in the second limo. I got in the limo with him, and I sat down, and he got in, and Dr. Nick was sitting there, and Dr. Nick said, "Elvis, Lowell's upset with you." And he looked at me and says, "What's the matter, Lowell?" And I said, "I'm embarrassed. I wish I hadn't been here. I wish I hadn't been here. You just spent a lot of money." And he looked at me, and he twitched his lip, and he grinned, and he was facing me, and he patted me on the knee, and he said, "Lowell, don't worry about it. I'll have to sing 5 minutes longer next time."
He said what?
Yeah. Now, there's that, like we said, there's that thing about Elvis, and I went on your website and I saw a couple of things I wanted to just get your comments on. These are some items that we can purchase from you now. What am I looking at there?
Well, that's, of course, it's costume jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
I do make it in solid gold, but they sell that at Graceland. It's a nugget ring set with diamonds, and his was a black star sapphire.
Right.
And that's an exact copy of the ring I made him.
Right.
So we sell it now in costume jewelry at Graceland.
That's about what we can afford, so that's something. Unless Elvis wants to give me a piece. And then this is the one you were talking about.
This is the horseshoe ring he loves so much that he would constantly replace it. Same ring.
When you look at Elvis in a picture, is the first thing you notice? Do you notice the rings and the jewelry that he's wearing?
You know, I don't think I do.
Yeah.
I just look at him and remember him like he was.
Yeah. Now you're here this weekend in Tupelo. We've talked in Memphis before, and you used to live in Memphis, but you're down in Tupelo now, and you're one of the judges in the ETA contest. What's been your experience so far in judging today? What you think about it?
Well, I'm loving doing it. I've been very concerned because I heard him so many times that I would be too critical. You know, because nobody sounds exactly like him. And but I don't think I have been. But I've tried to be fair and the way I mark the scores.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed it.
Good. I think it's important to have those kind of judges that knew Elvis and worked with Elvis and saw him and really understand what they're looking at, knowing that recreation can never be 100%, but to give the audience the entertainment and to give them the love that Elvis did. I think that's important.
Well, you're absolutely right, it is.
Well, it's great to have you here, and I know there's probably some fans out there that wish you had brought your case. And no, I'm not going to take any rings off and give them out to the audience.
Well, if I can put in a punch, I have a website.
Yes. That's the modern case. That's the modern case.
Yeah, modern case. ElvisJeweler.com will get you to my website, ElvisJeweler.com.
Right. Thank you, Lowell Hayes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.